Hey everyone, it's Garcias on Wheels, and we just took our rig out for the very first time, and today we're going to talk about the campground we went to. And we went to Yosemite Westlake Campground and RV?
That's the one.
Okay. Wanted to give you a little bit of information about it, some pros and some cons that we noticed while we were there, and some of our favorite things.
Alright, so I'm going to start with just some general information. So, Yosemite Westlake Campground and RV Park is in Coulterville. It's about 24 miles from Yosemite National Park. That's a little deceptive, though, because Yosemite National Park is huge, and it's a windy road. Mm-hmm. So, we went to the visitor center. I think it took us about an hour to get there.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily a bad thing. There's really only a few campgrounds outside the park, and depending on which side of the park you want to go to, it could actually be a lot closer. Of course, where we wanted to go was all the way on the other side. It has 21 RV sites, and 18 of them are pull-through. Full hookups on those, although they're 30 amp, not 50. Let's see, it has cabin and tent sites. Now, we didn't research the cabins or tent sites, but we did see them there, and they look nice. There is free showers and a horseshoe pit. It's pet friendly. And then it has a cool fire pit that somebody made out of an old metal buoy, and so it's carved, so you'll see that. And it's got free wood to burn in it, so that's pretty cool. And free Wi-Fi close to the manager's house.
So now I'm going to talk about some pros that we came up with while we were there. So it is quaint and quiet. The manager was super friendly, and he always checked up on you, made sure you were good. If you had any problems, he was always there, which I really appreciate. They took Passport America every day of the week, which is really nice. This is actually my favorite, there is a camp mascot dog. Now, this one's a little tricky because it's actually not the campground's dog. The first night we were there, we were sitting around by our fire pit just enjoying ourselves, and this random lab came up to us and was just super friendly, wagging his tail, and we're like, well, you don't look homeless because you are a fat dog. It was really big. And the manager told us that his name is Buddy, and he actually lives about 3/4 of a mile down, and he just comes and visits during the week. And about once a week, about once a week, his owner comes and picks him up and goes back. And I think it's just the cutest thing. He actually slept on our mat right outside of our house all night long. I mean, I think it was all night long from what we noticed.
Yeah.
Anyways, he was really cute, very friendly, and he gave us his paw. It was very nice. I almost took him home with me. Sorry, Tucker. The sites are very clean, and it was also very affordable, even without Passport America. It was $60 without Passport America, and then $30 with Passport America.
Yeah.
I believe that's how it was. And it's first come, first serve, so you can pick your spot, especially if it's not busy. That's what happened to us. The lady said, well, there's some spots over here, and we said, we want that one, and that's how we got our spot. It's a 24-hour service, so if you come in the middle of the night and you just need to park your rig, you are able to do that.
Well, it's not 24-hour service. It's, if you come in the middle of the night, you can just pick a spot and park there, and most likely Mac will check in with you in the morning. So it's not like some campgrounds where if you pull in the middle of the night, they're not going to let you in. You can go in, you can find a spot, you can get all set up. Somebody's going to deal with you in the morning, though. So it's not like you have to be assigned a spot, so that's why you're able to do that.
Mm-hmm. There's also cell service. Now, we have AT&T, so I'm not sure about any other cell providers, but if you have AT&T, you were able to get service. And they had some funny signs and some yard art that was around the campground, which is really cool.
Yeah. So now I'm going to talk about some of the cons. When you first pull in, there's an older trailer, like from the 70s or 80s, and it just has garbage all piled in front of it. I don't know if this is this person's garbage. I don't know if we just happened to get there the day before garbage day. I don't know what the deal is with that, but that was a little gross. That was the only place though, and it's nowhere near the rest of the campsites, so it's kind of off on its own. So it didn't really affect us. It was just kind of weird to pull in and see that. Mm-hmm. The spots can be pretty tight for big rigs. Now ours is 41'6", which is pretty darn big, and then we have a F350 crew cab long bed, so long truck, long trailer. We were able to get in, and it was our first trip out with them, so I figure if I could get in like that, if you're more experienced, it'll be no problem for you, but just be aware it's going to be tight. Mm-hmm. And actually getting out was also really tight because the roads are narrow and kind of windy just getting out of the campground, so it was a challenge, but we were able to do it, so it's not impossible, it's just a little bit difficult. The sites aren't level, so my dad's site was real close. He pulled in, and all he had to do was put out his stabilizers. Ours, on the other hand, was like a real steep incline, and it was a challenge for our auto level to get it level, but it did it. So it's not a deal breaker, but just be aware that some of the sites are a lot steeper than others. So if you come in, you might want to choose one more level than ours. This just happened to be the easiest one to get into. So there's that. The other one is 30 amp only, no 50 amp service. So I noticed that there was 50 amp plugs in there, but they were taped over and the breakers didn't work. So I don't know if they're putting in 50 amp service or if they had it in the past and it just doesn't work anymore. Maybe in the future those will be working. The last thing is there's not a lot of space between the RVs. So if you're going to come to this campground and put out your awning and sit in front of your own fire, you can do that, but it's going to be a really small area. So we could only get our awning out about halfway, and there was a tree in the middle, so that was as far as we could go. And we were all the way as far to the left as we could go, where I almost couldn't even open the little hatch where all our electric stuff is, because it was hitting a tree on that side. However, there are big, communal areas, which the one has the fire pit that we were talking about. So there's other areas to hang out, so you don't necessarily have to just sit in front of your RV. And it really didn't matter because our neighbors we were all related to since my whole family came up. So it was no problem for us. However, just be aware that if you're going to set up 15 camping chairs in your front yard, you're not going to have anywhere to sit.
So yeah, that's some pros and cons. Just to give you some information, how would you rate the campground as a whole?
I would say probably 4 stars. So there wasn't very much that I didn't like. Mm-hmm. I thought it was really pretty. I loved the trees. I loved the fire pit. For me, it was great. The only thing I didn't like was that one RV with that trash, and I wish it had 50 amp because we have 2 ACs. And we did run them both on 30 amp, but we were nervous about leaving that way and then tripping the breaker. And we actually did end up tripping the breaker once, but almost the entire time we were there, it was totally fine on 30 amps, no problems. So I think that was my only 2 real complaints. I really liked all the little yard art, and I guess they had lost a lot of trees to a beetle. So there's a lot of cut down trees, but they're all sawed up into logs, and you can actually burn some of them in the fire pit. So that to me isn't a bad thing. I think that's kind of cool that you get free firewood. So good for me.
Yeah, I would say about 4.5 out of 5. I think the not having 50 amps was not a deal breaker, obviously, because we went there, but I wish we had the 50 amps. That way we could have taken Tucker if we had it and we weren't so worried. The cats were with us, but when we left our rig, when we went to go visit other places, we just had the 1 AC on, and the cats were able to just hang out in the bedroom or come out in the living room if they wanted to. But we were really nervous not having that second AC, especially with Tucker, who is very spoiled and used to having the AC running.
Well, and we have never tried to run this on 30 amps before,
Yeah.
so we didn't know how that was going to work, number one. And number two, to be fair to the campground, we knew it was 30 amp when we were coming up. It was just, we were trying to do a trip on short notice with no reservations, and we just took what we could get, which was this campground, and it actually turned out to be really great.
Yeah.
So, but we didn't know. We've never been here before.
Yeah, we again, with the whole 30, 50 amps, since we've never taken our rig out, we've only had 50 amps stationary. Can you talk, Jessica, today? I'm just not good with my words today. But yeah, as a whole, the campground was really cool. The fire pit was really awesome to see.
Yeah.
And Buddy, I'm telling you, I could have taken him home. I have to be careful because that was Tucker's previous name, so ignore that, Tucker.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, so that was our experience at this campground. If you like this video, go check out our full trip one that we took, our Yosemite video, and like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye!
Bye.